Hi, Sixth Form Rainbows. I hope you guys are all doing well and that you are still all continuing to be really good for your parents. We're really, really missing you guys, and we really hope that we can all be together again soon to have some more fun in Sixth Form Rainbows. So today I thought what we could do is, instead of me sending you pictures and you only hear my voice, I could read you a story and you could have a listen and maybe have a little look at me if you wanted to. So for today, when we were on our trip in South Africa, I got to see my favorite wild animal in a game reserve, and at the moment, these animals are really, really endangered. And maybe you can guess what they are. I'll give you a couple of hints. So they're very big and heavy. They're not very tall. They have two big horns on their noses. Their skin is quite rough when you touch it. Do you know what they are? That's right, they're a rhino. So as you guys know, my favorite wild animal is a rhino. And so when we went to South Africa, I was very fortunate when we went on a game drive to see a rhino with a baby. And that was so nice. And so whenever we go, we do something to help protect the rhinos. And this time, what I was able to do is I bought a book called Itemba, in When There's Life, There's Hope. And all the money from this book goes towards wildlife conservation, which is really, really great. And so we're going to read it together. Some really nice pictures. So what I'll do is I'm going to send the pictures with a narrated story to your parents later, and you can have a listen to it again. And you can also then have a look at the awesome pictures. So I'm going to try and see if this works. Okay, so you have to bear with me because it's the first time that I've done this. It might be a bit upside down. So there is some pictures of the rhinos in the book. And this was taken in the Pilanesberg Game Reserve, which is really close to my house where I live and where I used to live in South Africa. And the story is about Itemba. And it says, you ready? Shall we see what it says? It says, from this day forth, you will always remember the incredible story of the rhino Itemba. She has a huge horn on the top of her nose. Her feet have soft padding right under her toes. She can walk through the bush as quiet as a mouse, which is pretty amazing as she's as big as a house. And let me introduce you to her. There she is. That is Itemba. So Itemba is a very traditional African name. So there's a picture of a cheetah and a monkey and some guinea fowl and some zebras in the background. Okay, so let's see what it says. It says, she was pretty thick-skinned, so the prickles don't prick, but she wriggle and giggle if you give her a tickle. She lives on the plains under the African sky, and when all's said and done, she's really quite shy. So she'll grunt and she'll snort if she has something to say, but she was in a big hurry when we saw her today. Ooh, I wonder why she was in a big hurry. Shall we try and see? Okay, let's have a little look at the pictures first. So there is a troop of elephants. You see there's some elephants on my wall as well. And then there she is. Oh, she's running really fast. Can you see this? Lots of dust around her feet. She was charging along at quite a good speed. It must be important. Oh, yes, indeed. It was hot, it was dry, the sun was red in the sky. "It's the poachers again," she heard the birds cry. Itemba felt nervous. Itemba felt scared. She must find Joe. She knew Joe cared. I'll find cover. I'll hide under a tree. I hope they fly by and don't see me." Then came the roar as the chopper flew past. It flew really low and it flew really fast. "How do we stop them? When will it end? I must keep on moving. I must find my friend." Oh, poor Itemba. She's really scared. These mean people. Look, she's hiding in the bushes. Okay. Let's see what happens next. Joe the ranger will come up with a plan. He loves us rhinos. I know Joe's our man. Although Joe is small, he has a big heart. He's brave, he's able, and he's pretty smart. I'll stay under cover with any luck, 'cause out in the open I'm a sitting duck. Itemba sniffed the wind and found Joe's smell. This way was the way that she could tell. 'Cause a rhino's eyesight is not very good. It's just good enough to find her food. "He's at home, thank goodness, I'm nearly there. We are lucky to have someone to care." She stood by his house, snorting and stomping, then found a good bush she thought worth chomping. Joe came out and said, "What on earth are you doing? You're eating my hedge. You've got to stop chewing." "Whoops," said Itemba. "I'm sorry about that, but I just popped over to have a quick chat." Those choppers were flying again overhead. If we are not careful, I'll soon be dead. Itemba eating Joe's hedge. It's not a very good idea to eat Joe's hedge, is it? No. Whatever is she thinking? Sometimes I wish that I hadn't been born with this gorgeous, magnificent, towering horn. It's nothing special. It's just not fair. It's exactly the same as your nails and your hair. People who buy them are really quite daft. If only they knew, Itemba laughed. I'd better do something and do something fast, or else my dear rhinos will be a thing of the past. Joe was upset. I just need a plan. I know I will help them. I know that I can. I know what I'll do. I'll build a dummy. I'll make him all grey with a big rhino tummy. I'll make him a horn and 4 legs and a head. I'll make him quick inside my shed. Joe worked in his shed day in and day out. He knew that this would work. He had no doubt. At last it was ready, had done a good job. His rhino was great. He'd get this mob. Can you have a little look there? The rhino that Joe built in his shed out of wood. It's very clever, isn't he? Yeah, it's like Mark at school. He's really clever at making things for our class out of wood. So shall we continue reading the story? You ready? Where should he put it? Where should it go? How should he move it? He just didn't know. He tried pushing and shoving it through his car door, but it stuck, so he towed it with his fab 4x4. He left it out on the plains under the sun. Now he would wait. Now he'd have some fun. So he made the rhino so big it didn't fit in his car, but he towed it on a trailer on the back of his fab 4x4. Okay. Joe quietly mentioned to a passer-by that this new rhino's horn was as tall as the sky. Word travelled fast, and before long, it reached the ears of the men who do wrong. Tall as the sky, oh me, oh my, I must have that horn, said the really bad guy. He called in his men and they planned their attack. They would go at sunset before the sky turned black. They would go at the new moon when the moon's just a sliver. The thought of their trophy made the nasty men shiver. The light was so bad they could see the form. They never suspected anything out of the norm. They went in guns blazing, but little did they know the Rangers were hiding with our hero Joe. Itemba was hiding and feeling on edge, so she kept herself busy by chewing a hedge. They came in real close for an easy shot. When up popped the Rangers, what a huge shock they got. They all dropped their guns and they got such a fright. They were so surprised they couldn't even fight. There's a picture. The really bad poachers and their guns. And they are going to try and shoot the beautiful rhino, but it's not a real rhino, is it? We know that that's Joe's dummy. And then the Rangers jumped out and stopped them. We got them, we caught them, hip hip hooray, said Joe and his men at the end of the fray. It worked, shrieked Itemba with total delight. I knew we would catch them, I knew I was right. They fell for our trick, hook, line and sinker. They had it coming, the mean rotten stinkers. John won an award for doing his bit, and the poachers are in jail, and here they sit. Itemba now lives in peace and quiet, as we all know that horn isn't good for one's diet. She now has a baby, and her name is Sunny, and they both chew Joe's hedge, 'cause they think it's funny. There's Itemba and Joe. He's very happy, celebrating that they caught the bad poachers. And that is Itemba and Sunny's beautiful home. And they are still being naughty. They're still eating Joe's hedge. And that is the end of our story. I hope you really enjoyed it. I'm going to send you the story with the pictures so you can have a better look. And maybe later in this week, we will share some rhino facts with you and maybe a little rhino worksheet that you could do with your mom and dad. All right, guys. Really looking forward to seeing you soon again. I hope you enjoyed the story. Bye.